try to hurry up here and get this PowerPoint away. Alright, I am doing Scott F. Fitzgerald. Great short story writer of the time period. Probably one of my favorite of this time period. As I started studying him more, I learned more about him and what he wrote about. Alright, The Lost Decade. It's a short story that he wrote. Just kind of, it was more about him than other. He's not talking about somebody else, he's talking about himself. So, I'll describe the story to you because you did not read it. The fact is that he wrote the story in 1,100 words, which means that the story was crisp and clear. It had a lot of meaning to it, and he got it all in a short amount of time, which just shows that he was a good writer. The main character, Mr. Trimble, shows that he was being in a mess for drunk. He was a drunk for 10 years or a decade, and trying to relive the moments that he had when he was a drunk. For 10 years, he didn't understand life. He just understood more about the alcohol that he used and how he abused alcohol. He goes up to eat with Mr. Brown, another character in the story. Mr. Trimble is the main character, and Mr. Brown was another character that worked with him in the office. And Mr. Brown, when they went out to eat, he asked Mr. Trimble to pick out a place to eat at because he'd not gotten to eat a good, decent meal in 10 years after being a drunk. And he was reliving all the moments he had of being a drunk in those 10 years. And he remembers the places that he was at, but not exactly what happened there. And at the end of the story, he kind of realizes that what he all missed in those 10 years. He didn't understand, the concepts of life and of what all happened in those 10 years. So at the end, it says he put his hand up against a brick wall, and he realized what he all missed in those 10 years. So being a drunk for him was not the best thing. Prohibition. It was a major influence in this time period. It was probably one of the biggest issues for the people and the citizens of America. Prohibition was known as the noble experiment. It was a time period of grief for many Americans. It lasted from 1920s to 1933. It started off with the 18th Amendment, which ratified, and it did not allow people to drink and consume over 0.5% of alcohol. Prohibition was the sale, manufacturing, transportation of all liquors, and that was not allowed during this time period. So, as a result of that, the government was trying to stop the evils that they said that were so-called corrupting society. So they were just trying to stop what was going on, and it turned out it didn't work for them. Alright, Prohibition. One is fact. The Volstead Act declared that any product over 0.5% was illegal. It was not allowed. And the act would result in jail time, and fines would also be issued to people. It mattered on how bad it was, but usually it was jail time, depending on how much alcohol you actually had. For people, the Prohibition Act was bad because they couldn't drink liquor, but actually they found loopholes and ways to get out of this because of the Volstead Act limited what you could do and what you couldn't do. So as a result of this, people found ways of sneaking alcohol in through different places and from Canada. And you'll find out about that later as I talk more about this. People were trying to find ways around this, so the act didn't actually mention drinking alcohol or liquor as just drinking it, so they could find ways around this. And So people would sneak running from the Caribbean and create ways of getting rid of alcohol from Canada. And these people were called gangsters or smugglers. It sounds, you know, what we think of a gangster today is, you know, the so-called people that go around with guns and drugs. So-called? Back, gangsters were people who would smuggle alcohol in from different places into the U.S. Gangsters would also open places or secret bars that people could drink in. They wouldn't just, you know, sneak the alcohol in. They would actually create bars or places that you could go drink at. So they did that. And then it turned out that people were finding more about that. So agents or prohibition would prohibition would be assigned to arrest these so-called gangsters, or smugglers in this case. Different organizations wanted to end the act. People were starting to realize, you know, hey, we're out of money. Our jobs are limited, and the government needed money. So this was the only way they know how to do it. So people got together, and it turned out on December 19th of 1933, alcohol was made legal by the 21st Amendment. And for the people, that meant prohibition finally ended, which was great for them because they didn't smoke alcohol no more. They could drink it freely. And all right, drinking today. We still have many problems in the world, you know, as of people driving while drunk or driving intoxicated, people consuming too much alcohol. There's still a problem with car crashes, vital accidents, and in Wisconsin, we actually do have the highest percentage of alcohol. But it just turns out that it's 22.1, and North Dakota is behind us, right in line. And alcohol is one of the primary reasons of fatal car crashes in the Badger State of Wisconsin. So surprisingly, from 1998 to 2003, there has been a decrease in the number of binge drinkers, which is people who are consuming too much alcohol or intending on getting drunk. So, with that fact, people are unaware of the side effects of drinking. Drinking can relate to many side effects of, let's say, you know, heart disease, cancer, strokes, many other medical problems. The goal for most federal health people is to have the rate down to 0.6 by 2010. Drinking is always going to be a big concern in America. We have people that don't understand when you drink, you get into a car and you drive. You don't understand what can go on. You know, you can kill somebody, you can hurt somebody, you can hit somebody on the side of the road. You don't know. And people don't realize it today. Even young teens and college kids, they think that, you know, there's nothing wrong and nothing's ever going to be wrong. But they don't realize that when they drink, they're only hurting themselves because people don't realize the side effects and all the stuff that goes into drinking, you know. And everything counts with moderation. You have to take things in with moderation. You can't overdo and stuff like that. I have a video. It's gonna work, but it's. Try it, Tyler.
It's like 0 seconds.
Yeah, you're ready over time.
Try it anyway. Say a conclusion.
Yeah, it's a conclusion. Get ready. Oh, they are.
There they are.
No,
33, 50.
You have the time up.
But anyway, as you can see, people back in the day would relate to alcohol.
Oh, look at that. It's working.
Oh.
Full screen it.
May I have your attention, please? Girls, softball players, your game for tonight is canceled. Varsity softball, you will practice right after school. Meet in the East Mezzanine. JV softball, you will not practice tonight. Dan Moldenhauer, please come to the office. And Mr. Keith Lauber, please call in.
And gangsters that would smuggle alcohol through Canada or the Caribbean or wherever they would.
You did really good, Tyler.